Hello, my name is Mansiriso and welcome back to the channel. Today and moving further forward, we're trying to have a bit of a structure and I'm trying to see how that works out. So today we're doing a movie review and the movie that I have chosen, the movie we're starting off is Barbie, which is ironic because I am a closeted Barbie fan. I'm not gonna lie. The aesthetic of Barbie, the message it has and the overall feel of Barbie. Although I never played with Barbies as a child, I played with baby dolls or sticks or other kids. I played outside, which is to say that my insecurities and awareness of being a woman came from television and movies and women who grew up playing with dollies, the ideas of patriarchy at large. Although I've spent many monies on film studies, I will not be analyzing the production of this film, even though it is a phenomenal production. We will speak on how the production did make the story more juicier and how it played a role. We're just going to look at the plot, the story, how everything is told, and what that means for the company, Mattel, and the toy itself, Barbie, and what the possible ending could seriously mean. Barbie is a feature film starring Margot Robbie. I hope I'm saying her name right. And what's his name? Ryan Gosling as Ken. The story follows Barbie as she tries to close a portal that has been opened within her world and the human world, the real world. And the plot is the synopsis is as follows. Let me just read that to you quickly. Barbie and Ken are having the time of their life in the colorful and seemingly perfect world, Barbie Land. However, when they get a chance to go to the real world, they soon discover the joys and perils of living amongst humans. The movie is based on a doll that a lady called Ruth Handler created for her daughter Barbara, a doll that she created for her daughter and then later on became Mattel and sold to children and women, girls and boys all over the world, basically. I want to, as we're going to dive deeper into this movie, I want to emphasize that this doll did not bring about the ideas that we hold in regards to Barbie. It just became an embodiment of it. It became something you can point in. When you said, oh my gosh, patriarchy, women being chained up, you could point at Barbie. But as time went on, again, Barbie released more inclusive toys, women in different kinds of jobs that normally were dominated by men, lawyers, doctors, construction, judges, or big jobs, I guess. And as that came about, more and more women wanted to be included in terms of their physical disability, physical indifferences, to say the least. I never really played with Barbie nor had the interest to understand what each one means, but I do remember a time in my childhood where older people were surprised when we go to the toy store that there was a black Barbie. I didn't know there was something new to them. I just saw it there. And again, I never played with Barbie until my early teens, like as I was getting to my teens. Then it was just a year of being a kid completely and then shifting into teenhood. But I did get fascinated by dolls, playing with their hair, dressing them up, the idea of being a girl and just being nurturing. That again changed because the older I got, I came to realize that holding the ideas that Barbie held or the stand that she held for women was echoed by men. And those men were not saying it the way Barbie was like, hey, let's get pretty, let's go out, let's go to the gym, let's work out, let's explore, let's be doctors, let's be lawyers, let's be anything we want, right? And then they would put it in the costumes and everything. And then in the real world, they would take those costumes and make them much smaller and put it into a woman and make it Halloween costumes. Now it's like Barbie was making a joke because this is what it actually means to be a woman. I'm supposed to be objectified. I'm supposed to make my clothes look and feel more sexier on me so that I'm more attractive. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but now it's associated that it's a thing that you have to give to someone else in order for them to accept you. So it becomes a bit harder for you to just move on with it. That's what I came to realize. So I let go of dolls. Just watched the movies and the TV shows secretly from time to time when it's quiet, when I'm alone, and I want to feel comfort and safety and protection, and the fact that I can dream, I can imagine, and it can be a secret of my own, and not really allowing other girls, young girls who are watching me, because everybody's watching somebody, right, to see that they can be girls, and for me as well, that child version of myself, to see that she too can be a girl and feel what that is without the pressures of what a girl experiences next to a boy. So, of course, with this kind of a topic that the Barbie movie went into, I was there. I was there because we talk about this a lot of times on this channel. We talk about the war between men and women, and how constantly there's someone gaslighting, either from the woman's point of view, from the men's point of view. The men did it with this podcast, the woman did it with OnlyFans. It's just, why are we perpetuating that fight? So seeing this movie that did not have a bad guy and did not have a personified bad guy, well, I watched the movie and I cried. And for the reasons that I've spoken about, I feel like we can already see what I got from that movie. It's a Barbie movie. And I think it cracks between realities. The fake world of the perfect woman who must present herself in a certain manner, not only for herself but to upkeep this standard, to have those pressures, and those doors to also have those pressures. Initially I was sad because how clear the film is. The patriarchy, the perfect woman, the cellulite, the heels, the real world Ruth, Barbie, that whole entire shenanigans. As the movie went on, as Ken shifted and went on, I started to think Barbie was the woman and Ken was the man, right? Because the man is the one who took on patriarchy, who said, I want to enforce patriarchy. So he went to another world, took patriarchy, brought it into his own world, and from there on practiced that. But seeing how it affected him, it made me wonder how it has affected men around here. And again, we have spoken about that and being curious how patriarchy has affected men mentally. It kind of told the story of patriarchy. It felt as if it was history being reflected back inaccurately through a broken mirror, but you could see clear what it meant. Every bit was kind of heard. Because Ken went to a different world and brought patriarchy with him, he had to first introduce it. In the world of Barbie, it brought in to the woman who the Barbies that were in charge some sort of mental relaxation. Like, oh, you're allowing me to sleep, that's good. And when she finally wakes up, or finally everything was gone. Well, the women in the world took on to it in the 50s when the white people came on to the Western culture, came on into the everywhere culture and established its own beliefs regarding everything. Having seen that, it was a bit sad and painful, but made sense to how could such people have allowed it. It spoke to the humanity. It humanized itself, which I was also impressed, because I think for a brand, that's how you escalate, right? You move with your audience. But then the ending of the movie makes you question if they are wanting to move forward or not. So also, another thing that was challenged in the movie Barbie was the grown woman versus the girl. How you see the world as a young girl versus how you see the world as a grown woman, which I spoke about briefly earlier, where a certain aspect of you still wants to see the world as being able to fly, like that young girl who stands on top of a rock holding something and her fist up in the sky, inspired by Wonder Woman and Supergirl, and excited and just being gentle, pretty, and aggressive in her own way. And it kind of calls onto you. And then there's a grown version of you that has been placed, who has been through the channels of doubt, insecurities, objectifications, being reminded of what it means to be a woman. Those two people existing in the same body, it gets challenging, it gets overwhelming, because one needs to shut up most of the time and the other needs to do work. And the child cannot do cannot do the work that the grown up needs to do, the parenting you needs to do. It needs to be divided. But most of the time, we're like, we need the grown version of you. Why are you being childish? Don't be like that. We tell that to everybody, men included. In terms of who is more accepted to play around with the inner child and the inner girl and sparkle and feeling pretty. And boys have grown to teach themselves, whether through their mothers, their parents, their environment, that as they get older, they need to carry this sense of importance or this sense of being driven that does not allow them to play and have fun. And when you now see women doing that, you're like, why are you doing that when I have to do that? And she's like, no, I have to regulate. I'm assuming you also regulate. But at this point, we saw a completely different world where the love the man has for the woman has caused him to go mad to a point where he's willing to even go to war with her just so he can feel strong. That's what Ken represented to me. That masculinity, it's strong, it's beautiful, it's as it is, and it has that roughness on its own. But if you don't regulate and deal with things that you need to deal with, and you hold on to the idea that you are entitled, but then again, that's a character flaw, right? That's about Ken and his character in the film. But he presents a certain idea of the generic kind of understanding of the male in society, from my standpoint at least. When I first watched it, I didn't notice, or I wasn't able to compare how Barbie treated Ken prior to Ken going into the real world compared to how Ken treated Barbie when he came back. And when I rewatched the film, I saw that even though from the first time there was no care for Ken, as in she didn't spend much time with him, she didn't really validate what he was feeling. He wanted to spend more time with her, he wanted to talk with her, but she communicated like, I don't feel that way, and had left it that way, and he wanted to hear more. And he felt that there was much more, which that is a problem on its own. But again, it could be a character thing, because you can find it in both women and men. It's not a men usually don't listen when you tell them you don't. People, it's a people thing. But she treats him well. So his behavior at the end is driven by his ego, his pride, his fragile masculinity. He feels less, because you can hear he talks about another Ken and how he sees that Ken and why he even went to the real world. And later on confesses what he felt when he understood what patriarchy is and what it stood for. And to begin to wonder, like, oh, so most of this was just something to further drive the way of communication. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's louder, he can just pin you down, and so many things you can submit. And if you're given something, it's definitely a must watch, that's for sure. You might no, the reason why I say it's a character thing is because you compare Ellen and Ken. They've been in the same space where Ken has many copies of himself. He has many Kens to play around. There's a Barbie for every Ken and a Ken for every Barbie, right? It's Barbie and Ken. But there's one Ellen. Ellen grows to see how unjust the whole entire system Ken is trying to implement is, and wants to leave the space and becomes one of the people that are helping Barbie in achieving the climax of the story, basically. So it's a character thing. If it was a gender thing, then Alan would probably have it as well. The twin daughter and her mother and the relationship, yeah, understandable. Every mother-daughter relationship is in that way. The relationship between women and women is complicated. Mother and daughter is complicated most of them. Weird Barbie asks Barbie why brainwashing didn't work on her. She says, you're either brainwashed or weird and ugly. And I thought about it, and I thought that is how it is. If you're not crazy, they're like, why aren't you crazy? It makes you stand out, and you are made aware that you stand alone, and then you can choose how you see that, whether it's a positive or negative. Stereotypical Barbie has been the imprint of the white woman that I spoke about in the hatred of modern women. She plays into the role because it's the woman that follows, has delicate little hands, little feet, and wears little heels, and Shulu, picnic dresses, and again, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever day, I am that lady. The woman I describe, a woman I am, a woman I want to be, woman I will experience being. Because that's what growing is, and that's what Barbie made me realize at the end of it. We can talk about this movie for days on end, no doubt about it, and analyze the lyrics of the Ken songs and the Barbie songs, and really look at why not each frame, but the houses, the fact that it has no windows, and the dolled world, the world of Barbie versus the real world, and how women are treated in there, and how men are treated, and just the overall conversation and war between men and women. Because it's a continuous thing that I'm experiencing, that I'm learning. Because he's fighting me, and I'm feeling like I must fight him, but why? Why is that? It's something that we're really curious about as well. This movie at the end made me want to be more girly. It made me realize what it is to be a girl, to be a woman. I'm a girl. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, whatever I feel that I should be doing to better myself, my surroundings, and anything else is what I need to do. And that needs to be the focus, and that needs to be the message that is sent into girls. And that is, if that is what Mattel is trying to upgrade itself into, then I approve of that message, because I feel like it's been doing that with the current Barbie that I enjoy watching. I encourage watching fights for. She's very inspiring, she's very motivational, that you can do it. If this is the kind of content and films that we are making for the generation that is coming, I definitely approve of the message, because it does not make anyone a bad guy. Anyone a bad guy. Rather, it seeks to be a us against the situation type of commune relations. And I love when stories are trying to break something within society. This film just takes it and makes it something that is easy to digest. It's well worded. It's given enough amount of time and attention to portray the message as it is, that it leaves less room for misunderstanding. Is that we are not enemies. Let's try to work together. That has been me on a movie review. And next time, we'll be back with the book review. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting, liking, and subscribing. It really means a lot. There are so many videos and so many minutes you could have chosen to click out of this video. Please, chat, don't sue me. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I promise the content will get better with time. Right? Bye-bye.